during your time here with the Lakers, Robert, and even now, I'm sure that when you still walk around LA, I mean, during these days, and the Latin American fan base still comes up to you and show their appreciation to you and love. And how do you think that you were able to connect with them during that time and still now?
It's something about the Latin American fan base. They're some of the best fan base ever when it comes to supporting a team. I think about when it started out with me in Houston, we had a great fan base. When I got to the Lakers, it was something extraordinary. And I tell you this about the Laker fan base and the Latin fan base. They always support. They come out and represent. You talking about people who buy the gear, who always on your side, who have your back. It's the Latin American fan base. That's right. That's the only reason I like going to Vegas, because I don't ever have to, buy anything, because those fans always buy me stuff because they say, I remember that shot you did against Sacramento. Okay, and then we go from there. But it's been there's been a great fan base. Think about it. The Laker brand is one of the brands in all of sports that is so fantastic. And when you have a backing like the Latin American community, it makes it that much better.
Robert, do you know any Spanish at all? Any words at all? Do you ever try using them at all?
Sí.
See.
I don't. It's funny. It's like my wife is Mexican, and she's always trying to teach me stuff. And all I know is hola.
Oh, that's it.
¿Cómo está?
Oh, no, not bad at all. What about the kids? Do you have, how many kids do you have?
She and I have a son together. Yes.
Okay.
He speaks Spanish.
How old is he now?
15.
Oh wow! So he speaks Spanish. That's great. And how do you feel when you hear them both connecting in Spanish?
I just nod my head and keep walking, man, because I don't know what they're talking about. So some of the stuff I'm picking up on. I'm not gonna lie, I'm picking up on it, because when they try to talk bad about me, I'm saying, hey, I know what you're saying.
I got what So what about the food? What kind of food do you like? Is there a specific Latin America food? I know there's LA has great food, but specifically Latin American.
I love some chicken enchiladas. Some chicken
Nice.
enchiladas. But the thing is, I don't like refried beans. I love refried black beans. It's this
Okay.
place that does that. I love black beans, and so. But the best thing about it is margaritas, man. Come on, let's be real. So I know we have the Taco Tuesday, but hey, it's all about the margaritas.
Oh, margaritas. Kobe Bryant was able to make that connection so easily. I mean, we know when he first arrived to the Lakers, and he recognized that fan base, and you talked about that, and he promised them that he was going to talk to them in Spanish, to learn Spanish, and he did. Like, how great was that to see, and were you able to see that during that time, the way that he evolved to them?
Yes, it's funny because his wife is Mexican and his
Mm.
daughter's a mix, and so we had that kind of connection. And for him, they go out and learn Spanish. Here's a funny story. Our equipment guy at the time was Mexican. His name was Rudy Garcidueñez. And I told him that I wanted to learn how to speak Spanish. So I used to sit in the back of the plane with him, and he tried to teach me. So one day I come in the locker room, he had went and wrote all the Spanish words and put it on the TV, the trash can. Everything had Spanish words on there. He's like, you guys need to learn how to speak Spanish. And so I'm doing this because Robert said to do it. Everybody looked at me like, really? I was like, yeah, we need to learn how to speak Spanish. We're in LA. And that lasted about a week because it got so frustrating because you couldn't roll your R's right, you couldn't pronounce stuff right. I was like, man, I give up. So I tried, man, but I just couldn't learn it, man. I don't have the smarts to learn Spanish. So, but my son does, and my wife speaks it. So, but Kobe was one of those type of people that if you told him he couldn't do something, or if he challenged himself to do something, it was going to get done. So for him to be able to speak Spanish and Italian and all the other languages he did, it was a credit to his greatness.
So how much of Kobe's legacy do you see around the league now with the whole Mamba mentality and everything that surrounded him?
I think it's starting to be one of those things that everybody is, dedicating their game, their swag, everything to him. There's so many guys who are repping him by having a tattoo to represent him and what he stood for this game, and it's so weird that I had a chance to play with him and get to know him and watch him develop from a pup to a grown dog. You know what I mean? So when I say that, I mean that in the most respectful way, because you have to have a lot of dog in you when you play. And what I mean by that, you had to be nasty on the court. You had to have no fear. You have to growl at people sometimes. You know, you have to do all these things to establish yourself. And I think that's what he did as he went through this, you know, his maturation stage from a pup that it's literally, if you know how active puppies are and they're running around, that's how Kobe was. And he was just so active running around, and he had to learn how to hone that in and then focus it the right way. And that's just what it is. And he was one of those big dogs. When I say one of those big dogs you run from when he got on the court. And that was just a joy to have him on my side and to watch him, you know, as he went through his whole career.
During practice, I'm sure a lot happens, and I witness it. But sometimes it's so intimate. Sometimes that we don't, as media, we don't get to see that. But I'm sure you have plenty of stories to go around. Did you ever play Kobe one-on-one? Was there a moment that you remember him the most that you witnessed during practice?
You know, we were always, you know, challenging each other in practice, and there was so many times that he would want to play this game. It's called a string game. And what you have to do, if you make one, that's one. You make two, you got 2 on, 3 on. So he will always want to do that with us when we're shooting threes. He will always be one of the first ones out. And he used to get so mad that, you know, he'll come to practice the next day 2 hours early working on threes. And then he was like, okay, we're going to play. And he'll lose again. Then the next day, you know, as we saw him getting better, we would mess with him like, no, we're not playing today. And he would get so frustrated. Come on, we're going to play. Because he didn't want to lose. He wanted to challenge us and beat us, because it was me, B. Shaw, Rick, Fish, and sometimes Kurt Ramison doing it. He will always be one of the first guys out. It used to frustrate him. And we just used to laugh and, you know, have fun with it. But he was a competitive. His competitive nature wanted him to get out there and beat us in the 3 game. So that was his goal. And look at him now. He's an all-time leading Laker in 3 pointers made.